I said to him, Mr. Secretary, this meeting could not have taken place without the authorization of President Arafat personally. And I took the letter out of my pocket, showed it to him.
I reminded them that the PLO, their organization and their chairman had made a serious mistake in backing Saddam Hussein in the Gulf War.
He sat like this. I pulled my chair around and faced him. We confronted each other just like two fighting cocks.
He was so angry, and said, even if you make you angry, what can you do? We don't have assets in bank to be frozen by you. We don't have airlines to be grounded by you. We don't have anything in the world that you can threaten us with. So court us, and we're willing to play positively, but as a major player.
The Palestinians refused to repudiate the PLO, and Baker knew this would be unacceptable to Shamir. After 12 weeks of shuttle diplomacy, Baker was stuck.
The only leverage a Secretary of State has in this kind of situation is the ability to blame one party or the other for the collapse of the peace process.
Baker came and told President Assad, it is your position, is very important. I mean, if you accept, if you feel that this is good for you, and you accept the American initiative, then the whole world will stand by Syria and will put the blame on Israel.
Assad decided to go along.
I'm pleased to report that Syria has agreed to the proposals that we have made, including coming to a peace conference.
Full of confidence, Baker returned to Israel.
There was no way that an Israeli prime minister could appear to be less interested in peace than a Syrian president, especially when the Syrian president accepted coming to this conference on terms that were essentially defined by Israel.
But Shamir put more obstacles in Baker's path. Every time the American team arrived in the Middle East, Israel announced the construction of a new Jewish settlement in the occupied territories, land the Arabs claimed was theirs. Each new Jewish home made Israeli withdrawal more difficult. Furious, Baker went public.
It is easier to obstruct peace than it is to promote it, and that the establishment of these settlements certainly does not help the efforts of those of us who are interested in peace.
The Palestinian reaction was predictable.
I remember Faisal Husseini, at almost every meeting, he would pull out this map.
I brought him maps of the West Bank and Gaza. The first map showed the situation before 1967. The second one showed the situation today, with the settlements all marked in orange.
And I finally said, Faisal, let's talk about what's important here. Let's talk about how we're going to get a negotiation going. Because if we don't, we're going to keep meeting like this, and pretty soon you're going to bring me a map that's totally orange.
He actually told us you have no other alternative. He said, name any way in which you can stop settlements, other than through the peace process.
The local Palestinians were afraid to talk to the Israelis without permission from the PLO in Tunis. A meeting of the Palestine National Council was called.
Our delegation asked Baker, could the refugees return? He said no. Will there be a Palestinian state? He said no. Will the PLO be on the delegation to speak for us? He said no. Chairman Arafat knows that these answers are accurate. They are no, no, and no.
I told the conference, if we don't get on the peace train, it will pass through our station. We will never have another chance.
I said we don't want to be passive victims of history. We want to challenge, to intervene, to intrude, to participate, and to present our own narrative, to speak for ourselves. And this is a forum.
It was a forum Arafat himself had wanted to attend. Reluctantly, he agreed that the team from the occupied territories, not the PLO, would represent the Palestinians. But Shamir had another demand. He asked the Americans to guarantee a loan of $10 billion to help absorb the Soviet immigrants who were now pouring into Israel.
I don't want to interfere in the American interior affair, but I would like to inform everybody that not to forget that they are using these billions in building more illegal settlements on our land.
This was our way to build up our country. What is the Zionist ideal? It is to gather the Jewish people into this small country. So we must set up more and more homes, large and small communities. What are the settlements? They are just communities. No Arabs lived on that land. It is not on their property.
The Americans were unable to stop the Israelis from building settlements. To save the conference, President Bush delayed the loan. American Jewish leaders urged him to reconsider.
I was approached by the leaders of some of the biggest Jewish organizations. A Republican was head of AIPAC, which is a very strong American-Israel political action committee. And he told me that I was making a huge mistake politically.
President Bush wouldn't give in.
For the first time in history, the vision of Israelis sitting with their Arab neighbors to talk peace is a real prospect. Nothing should be done that might interfere with this prospect. And if necessary, I will use my veto power.
We saw the president on television. He took a stand against the American Jews. I got really angry. This hurt me, just as it hurt many others.
Bush had faced down Shamir. A few weeks later, Israelis, Arabs, Americans, and Russians assembled in Madrid. For the first time, Palestinians were invited to participate.
Today we have made a major step forward. There is a recognition of the Palestinian national identity. The Palestinians are speaking out for themselves for the first time in history.
The delegates gathered at the Royal Palace.
I will never forget the emotion I felt when, with Gorbachev next to me, we walked into this room in Madrid, and there, across the table, sat Arabs and Israelis. We come to Madrid on a mission of hope.
Everyone expected each Middle East delegation to be led by its foreign minister. But Shamir had a better idea.
I thought, maybe I should go to Madrid myself.
Shamir had devoted his life to fighting for Israel, doing whatever he thought necessary to establish, maintain, and defend the state. As he got up to speak, the conference waited to hear if he was now ready to make peace.
I could go on and recite a litany of facts that demonstrate the extent to which Syria merits the dubious honor of